All right, we should be live now for about 10 seconds. And yeah, I had to come on the live stream because we were running a little bit behind schedule. And I have to give my apologies for the announcement that I cannot produce today because I've been chatting with Russell just a couple of minutes ago, and we had some technical issues that were taking far too long to solve, and then we decided to postpone our live stream. Sorry. And so yeah, but I felt the need to come here and talk to some of the audience about it, and also since I'm here, I might as well talk about some of the issues that are going on. I don't want to make the video too long. I mean, this was the main thing was to hear Russell's opinion, and because he had already voted in Donetsk, he saw how it was, and so he has an insider's opinion about it, the whole process. As you all know, I have been in Donetsk very recently, past November. I've been at Russell's place, and I've been around Donetsk. I've been in Petrovsky district, where recently 3 people, including young children, died from Ukrainian bombing. And so there were some issues that I really wanted to hear from Russell, but it wasn't possible today. He apologized, and we'll do it soon as he gets his computer back from the shop, because I think he had to send it over, and so it was a bit of bad luck. We didn't have enough technical conditions to do the live stream. Bit of a frustration to me, I must confess, and for sure some people like to hear Russell's opinion. Anyway, without any further ado, I just want to go briefly on 2 topics, and one of them are the Russian elections, of course. And you know that people who are distracted in the West think the Russian elections, of course, they do not think, they are certain the Russian elections are a sham. I mean, they are fake. They are just stage performance, just to validate the continuation of Vladimir Putin in the presidency, and all of that. And the funny thing that some people believe this, of course, and they are sure about this. Curiously, not knowing much about Russia, not knowing much about the Russian society. But of course, they are influenced by the media that tells them this, media such as CNN, for example, just to touch a very preeminent channel. And if you read the CNN news, and it's quite funny when we when we find, for example, and I'll try to put it on the screen here. I'll try to put it here on the screen for you to see. So let's see. Yes, here it is. For example, this piece of news: CNN in Russia as lines grow at polling stations in support of Navalny. So we are talking of a country which is accused of having a Stalin-like state dictatorship. We are talking of a country which accuses the state to oppress people who speak their mind, and who oppress journalists. So my question is, how does CNN pull this up on plain day, on broad daylight, right? Talking to and the title is, I found the title quite hilarious. CNN in Russia as lines grow at polling stations in support of Navalny. Okay. This is you are all aware that Navalny is not running, right? He's actually dead. So this is clearly propaganda, of course. But at the first sight, you could just think about these two factors. How does CNN, because CNN has been actually reporting from the voting booth in I saw it live on CNN on TV, and for me, what I saw there was perfectly election day, completely normal. You have the people working there. You have the electronic for identification, the electronic devices for identification, validation. You have a lot of people present, a lot of people in present. And then you have, contrast to this, you have some Ukrainian propaganda showing the following video that I'm about to show you, which, I mean, I'll show you and then we talk about it. So here it is. Maybe some of you have seen this video, this rather funny video, and I'll just play it. I'll rewind it. Okay, this is from the beginning. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, come on, let's be real. This is obviously a stage thing. If you look at all the voting booths, all the images of the voting places in Russia, you see that the setup is not made like this, right? It's not just a desk with the Russian flag there, and all the Russian two-headed eagle in every curtain of each booth. I mean, and then you have this soldier just barging in there and checking what you are voting. And the soldier has this particular thing, which is a toy gun. If you notice, is a kind of a gun without even the magazine clip, and it is a plastic mockery. It's a prop. It's not a real gun. Okay, and this is, I mean, if you look at the video, you can see clearly, even if you are one of the Russia haters around the world, you have to be very stupid if you believe this kind of video, because at first when I saw this, I thought it was a comedy, like some comedy group mocking the Russian elections and so on. But then I found out it was real Ukrainian propaganda, and then it became even more hilarious. I mean, more than if it would be a comedy or a comedy sketch. And so, let me just show you how the voting the voting sections really look like. Okay. So they look more like this, okay? Which is completely normal. Completely normal. I mean, I've been a part of this process in Portugal many times. I can't say that we have all the technology that they have, like, for example, for the validation of the IDs and all people with laptops and all thing, but I mean, you have a lot of people there, representatives of multiple forces and entities, and you have the big ballot box where the woman is putting the vote now, which is, I mean, it's very difficult to tamper with, or to know, or for someone to find out where, for example, this family, for whom had they voted. So does this look like does this look like this? I'll just play it again because it's I mean, and it's very. I mean, it's propaganda, but the cheapest kind. I mean, the kind that I don't know. I don't know if children get fooled by this. Maybe they will. Maybe very little children, like 3-year-old or 4-year-old, something like this. And so yeah, so I had to touch this because this is funny, but it doesn't get so funny when, for example, I open my Instagram account page and I see Portuguese pages with dozens of thousands of followers. They grew by posting these ridiculous things going on in Portuguese society, and suddenly they make political posts or posts like this. And at first, I think that maybe they're gonna mock because it's too ridiculous. But no, they're just gonna amplify the rumor. And then you read the comments, and oh my god, you have to. I say, oh my god, but it's just a force of expression. I'm not really a religious person. And then you see the comments and the people, yeah, dictatorship and all and that and that. I mean, spewing all the hatred possible that you can see. And this is, I mean, this is a factor that it's a very hard thing to beat and to tackle because when you surround yourself with rational people that you can argue with and you can take in their arguments and they can take in your arguments, and then the main thing is not to win anything but is to find common ground or to learn from each other. I mean, any of these are perfectly fine, but when you have this huge army of zombies ready to swallow shit like this and worse that you give to them and just reproduce it without any doubt, being sure of everything they're told, it's actually scary. So yeah, and I wanted to say that. And so it's talking about jokes and hilarious things. The latest news about little Napoleon lifting his head and becoming a hawk and becoming a gun ho person all of the sudden. It was hilarious at first for me, but then I thought of all these people that believe in these things, and then I think maybe he gets some followers on. Just to put you in context, Macron and Scholz and Tusk from Poland, they all got together in a sign of that they are forming like a strong alliance against Putin, and Macron is talking more. It's being more hawkish in his discourse. He was more like appeasing in the past, and now he says that NATO troops should go on the ground in Ukraine. French troops should put boots on the ground. I mean, completely utter lunacy, right? Because you know what would happen. There would be Third World War and the destruction of all. And so I don't know, a person with the kind of responsibility that Macron has, what is the point? I don't know. Some theories say that he is trying to make a stand before the elections, to stand out against this growing right wing that has a history of being like pro Russia, pro Putin, or at least Putin sympathizers. Maybe trying to look tough for his own, which I think it's utter nonsense, because most of the polls say that most of the French, although in favor of the West Bloc in the Ukrainian conflict, they are the big majority of them are against this kind of military intervention because they have some sense in their head, not the same sense that Macron has. And so I really don't know. It's the same that what's the name of the guy from the Czech Republic? Pavel. is all gun ho, but the Slovak president not so much, and the relations between the two countries have even uh, got colder, got worse because of this difference in opinion. And we all know this is utter nonsense. But after that leaked phone call, where two German high officers are discussing, let's put it like this, discussing, they're having a discussion and making plans about, concrete plans about an attack on Russia with German cruise missiles. This is like, this is the covert, I mean, Europe has covertly declared war long ago on Russia. But now with this phone call, we know, we are sure, we are more sure of what we knew already that was true, that the Americans have troops on the ground, the British have troops on the ground. Even if the other countries are not directly involved, they have like mercenaries on the ground that are actually people from the army of these countries. And you have like open hostile speeches against Russia from representatives, either from Germany or from France or from other countries. So war has been declared, right? But there was a line, there was a thin red line, let's call it this way, which I think they were about to cross. Hadn't that phone call been discovered by the Russians? Which of course they tried to turn it around and put the emphasis on the espionage rather than the subject being discussed on the phone. And so we are arriving a moment which I think can be, and I don't want to be pessimistic, I don't want to alarm anyone, and I've been every doomsday prophets. I've met many in the internet for many years now, and I've always found them to be phony and those predictions unfounded. I mean, they're just attention seekers for business purposes or other purposes. But in this particular moment, I think we are crossing a very dangerous line, and things can really get out of hand. Let me just remind you of some thoughts that Gonzalo Lira had, the late Gonzalo Lira, the journalist killed in the Ukrainian prisons that no one mourns. And he had a theory over a year ago that Ukraine would be the partition of Ukraine. Poland would occupy one part, Romania one part, Hungary another part. Then it would be a small place called Ukraine in the west, kind of a rump state, and then all of Ukraine, including Odessa and Nikolaev, and all of Ukraine on the right bank of the Dnieper, or better, the left bank, the east and south bank of the Dnieper, would all be controlled by Russia. And then in the imminency of the collapse of Ukraine, NATO would make a move not to lose at all and control parts of western Ukraine. And this is surprising as it may be, this is exactly what is unfolding. And let's just hope it does not unfold exactly like that, because NATO troops openly and declared in Ukraine, they are there now, but it's a kind of a cat and mouse game that both sides agree, and some limits are somehow more or less respected by both sides. But declaredly, like we are here with NATO flag, and this would be very, very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. I need not to explain why, right? If you all follow these subjects. And so yeah, and I think we have reasons to worry about. The information has been playing a big role on this, and I mean, people know more today, or at least have the means to know more today than any other time in history. But it looks like everyone is more ignorant all the time, more and more and more gullible for phony information, phony news. Everyone is taken by emotions. And so, yeah, like the people who believe in this video, for example. So, yeah, that is something to reflect on. And I had a lot of shit to say, but I don't want to make the video too long. We know that Ukraine has been desperately trying to. You have a pattern here that you can identify. Every time things go bad on the ground for Ukraine, other things immediately happen, like the PR stunts, like things that they can show on the media. For example, the attack on the Kerch Bridge, the operation on the south bank of the Dnieper, explosions inside Russia, attempts to cross the border, like now they are attempting to invade Russia with small groups of soldiers. I laughed. I mean, this is not funny, but it's kind of ridiculous, even from the military standpoint. I mean, point of view is like you're sending these people to slaughter. You know that you are doing it, and you do it just the same. It's the same. The operations in the south have been. I've made videos questioning that. They're just creating a small cauldron by themselves because they didn't have to go there. They have a river on their back, and they are completely surrounded by the Russians on to their front, and in a small area. And with the firepower that the Russians have, what do you think it has been happening there? It has been an utter hamburger maker, human hamburger maker. It's a meat grinder. And these attacks that they are doing desperate now on the Belgorod region, they are the same. They achieve nothing militarily other than PR stunts, and then they show that they occupy a village. They take some pictures, and they just shot down an American helicopter that was taking soldiers trying to cross the border in an obvious PR stunt. Just they land in some shithole, they raise the flag, and they say, we've conquered this village. And then immediately all the CNNs and New York Times and Fox News and whatever, they show this news to the people, and people get the wrong idea of what's really going on. And this happens when these PR offensives, these PR stunts happen mostly when the Ukrainians are having their asses kicked on the ground or on the real front lines, where the majority of the armies are fighting, where the real decisions are being made. And so, I don't really... I mean, do you still believe that Russia can lose the war? I don't want to be too sure about anything, but it's up for you to decide. And at the same time, a lot of news now are just focusing on Russian elections, claiming it's a dictatorship, it's not a democracy. What about Ukraine? How's their democracy going? Have you asked yourself that? And so, yeah, with this question, I leave today's session. I'm sorry again for not being with Russell here. He apologizes. We had some chat because Russell is not just a guest for me anymore. He's my friend, and I had the pleasure of eating and sleeping under the same roof. And I met his wife, and we had a great time. And I had dinner with veterans of war in the Donetsk front that fought alongside, side by side with Russell. And I know I met people in Donetsk. I've been there. It was shelled while I was there. It's still being shelled, and so yeah. So, but this will happen more times. I'm pretty sure. We just had this setback today, and I'm sorry for that. We'll be back soon. Thank you. Have a good week.